Good evening, everyone. LordSeanConnery here on the 16th of September 2025, and we are going to discuss the trades that occurred not only in last night's overnight session, but today's RTH session on both ES and CL. Okay, got a few screens in front of me, but I'm going to go ahead and blow this one up. This is a screenshot of the ES levels in the overnight from last night. We have the blue as the over-under inflection 1 support down here in this gray band. That was around 66.70. Notice that there are no levels to the upside because this market is breaking up to new highs. Here there was actually a decent engagement of the over-under with a very nice response, as you can kind of see. I don't know if I can actually blow that up, but it's right about here. Decent pullback. Probably, I think there was 2 ticks risk that you were able to get on this. An entry of 73.50, risk the low of 71.50. And as for targets, I mean, shit, this thing ran about, if you took the entry of 73.50, it went up to 96.75. That's absolutely fucking amazing. I like to work with round numbers. I don't know why. Maybe it's some sort of OCD ordeal, but if I get an entry and I have a runner, I like to look at 10, 20, 30 points. And so I didn't take this trade at night. I was actually busy with some other stuff. But for anyone who did take this trade, I had to check it, see if my friend might have taken it. This thing did pretty damn good. So the overnight session in ES, wow, what a fucking winner, dude. And then oil. Oil was a beauty. First, it had a decent movement away from the over-under, just kind of was contained in yesterday's range, kind of broke down through it and engaged this support 1 inflection at 63.04. My bands are only 5 ticks wide. Some people might expand them and make them 7 to 10 ticks wide on each side of the price. I put them for 5 for some unknown reason. So depending on how much leeway you want to give these levels, you could tell if they engage really tight or not. This one had a decent response here with some movement. It got capped by the over-under. It ended up probing lower, another low. It actually tested yesterday's RTH open at 62.94, gave a response, pulled back. In the 30-minute periods, this was a higher low against a bracket low, and then it shifted neutral. And then this thing went to the upside. So it went from support S1, maybe, cheated around support S2, and took a run, not only bashing through the over-under, smacking that bitch upside the head, but also getting to the daily inflection 1, not daily, but the overnight number R1, which was at 63.78. This picture was taken about 7:30 Central, and this fucker still kept running. It was a pretty nice trade. These levels are actually from Infinitus Capital's overnight sheets. So about 5 o'clock Central PM, every single day when the market reopens, they send these levels for all their markets. And I like to mark up my charts and see if I could get some sort of engagement in the evening. But what's nice is, if I go to bed, if there's somebody in Europe that wanted to subscribe to these levels, they have trades. They actually have trades. Or if you want to be a fucking night owl, I don't know, maybe take some Adderall or, do some white pony, whatever the fuck your party is, you can actually stay up and trade the markets. They're a little slower moving. They could be a little more erratic, especially in the European session, but damn, sometimes you get some really colossal moves. And then, of course, when you wake up and you see this shit, you're like, God, if I only took that Adderall, if I only, stayed up all fucking night to trade. But you can't win them all. You cannot engage in every single fucking trade. That's just insane. We need to sleep. We need to be well rested as traders. It's very important. Otherwise, you start doing stupid fucking shit. All right. Anyways, let's go and take a look at the RTH session for oil as well as the ES. Let's do oil first. I'm going to blow my chart up. Oil with the zones. This was an absolute fucking beauty today. So this was the continuation of the overnight. As you could see, it went up to 64.23. That was the overnight high at that moment before the release. We did have a gap up. So the gap is 63.67. That's the gap high. The open was at 64.12. And I believe the gap mid, which is halfway distance from the open to that point to the previous high of day, was 63.90. Initially, the market put in a test right to the tick of the half gap mid and gave a good response. Still, it's in kind of no man's land. It's trying to figure its shit out. Is it going to test lower? Is it going to test higher? Trying to work its shit out back and forth through the open. That's a directionless market for the time being. So made a low and then made a higher high against the overnight high. The overnight high stat was taken. This thing just really couldn't muster anything to get going higher. It pulled back, and then it actually came in after the IB is set. So the IB levels, the IB high and the IB low, or the high and low after the first hour of trading. Once they're set, we come in, we smash the IB low, and we engage the over-under. The over-under was at 63.79. It had a low of, I believe, 63.81. This was fast. This got away from me. Normally, when I see some sort of entry pattern, this thing will actually pull back and give a chance to get on in. No, this just said, hey, fuck you, I'm gone, I'm away. I was left there with my dick in my fucking hand on this trade. I was actually monitoring ES at the time, so I kind of missed this one, which, I really regret. But whatever. Again, you cannot catch every single trade. Maybe if you set up some sort of computer program to, see something and then engage. I do have a rule set for the entry on this, but I just didn't take it. My eyes are on another instrument. So, shame on me. I get a kick in the fucking nuts for missing that. What did this do? It came in, broke to the upside, broke the IB high, setting up a neutral day, and then it engaged at inflection 1. So that's a target. Hit inflection 1, pulled back, higher low, kept going. And then it actually nailed inflection 2, 64.79. It came within 3 ticks. What did I say last video? That these guys over at Infinitus Capital have such a... they dominate the oil market. They basically are marking the low within 2 ticks and marking the high of the day within 3 ticks. Absolutely fucking amazing. There is a bread and butter play, which I remember when I was talking to one of the guys over there. They're available for questions if you do sign up for their service. Anytime you have questions about their levels or, anything, they're always open, I believe, on Skype. But the bread and butter play for a lot of oil trades are taking a position from the over-under, getting some sort of risk off, letting some go at inflection 1, and then getting the rest out in inflection 2. And what they do, I believe, on their automated programs is short, or they take a reversion. And this thing reverted from inflection 2 to inflection 1. This is a picture-perfect trade from the guys at Infinitus Capital. And, you don't need anything automated. If you are a discretionary trader, you may want to make a rule set for yourself. You might want to, put some stink bids out there and see if you catch a move and whatnot. But, if you do have some experience and are able to read order flow, absorption reversals, shit like that, you can really do well with this stuff. So if you were to... Oh, let's see. Anyways, that was it for oil. Oil failed to fill the gap. It attempted to, just couldn't, and it just went right on up. Closed pretty much near the highs. It had a little bit of a pullback, but definitely shifted a lot of value upward. This seems like a very thin profile, only because there was such a monstrous Macedon cock-sized amount of volume that actually traded at 64.52 at the end of the session. All right, now let's go to ES. ES right here. These were the levels for the day. This is yesterday's action. Yesterday's action was a neutral day that had some, closing in the middle of balance. I believe it closed there. No, actually it closed. The RTH close was above the IB high, but it was a neutral day. We have FOMC tomorrow. So here's the action. This is the action from the overnight. And then this is the action right here at the RTH. So, here's the over-under. We only have one inflection to the upside. Then it's pretty much new highs beyond. There was a short setup that I did not get here. right about here. This is a lower high against the open swing, and then a decent reversal pattern, which I kind of have on my playlist. Not my playlist, my playbook. I missed this because I was actually watching oil and not paying attention to ES. And then when I was paying attention to ES, I missed an oil trade. It's kind of fucked up, but what are you gonna do? Maybe I need a clone. I need to go and talk to a geneticist and make a couple clones so we can all watch the different markets at the same fucking time. That'd be pretty crazy though, because I'm pretty dramatic, and I can imagine having like 3, 4, 8 different versions of me. Holy shit, it's gonna be nuts. Anyways, this is another bread and butter by the Infinitus guys. It's a short here at inflection 1. At the over-under. You take some off at inflection 1, and at inflection 2, that's their most probable price, the most efficient price. Generally, market gets contained here, and then it does its thing. It actually went a little further. And instead of catching the easy short is... it's like getting a fastball right down the fucking middle and just nailing a home run. Let's see. I don't want to use any crazy, somewhat offensive analogies, but it is what it is. Since I missed this short, I was actually looking for any possible spots for reversals so I could catch something. Nothing really appeared except here. Dipped a little lower under inflection 2, came within yesterday's low. And I felt like since it's going to be FOMC tomorrow, maybe the action today is going to balance against yesterday before we have interest rate decisions and Fed Chairman Powell, fucking amps up on a Mormon 8-ball. If you guys don't know what a Mormon 8-ball is, it's a 5-hour energy drink mixed with a Red Bull. He probably pops one of those before he actually has his Q&A. I'm just fucking with you. I don't know what he does. But here, I figured that we probably would contain price within the overnight, the previous low of day. We actually didn't. There was a decent response here, but price just could not get above the pocket of the mid and RTH VWAP, the RTH mid and VWAP. So a lot of scalps I was doing. Decent scalps, 1 to 2 ticks of risk, getting 1 to 2 R risk off. But this fucker was just not doing its thing. We finally broke the IB low, another decent response, but just going nowhere. And actually when we made this low here at 63.25, that was a double bottom. So it's known as a poor weak low against yesterday's action. On the profile, that low is not going to last. And I think the amount of volume traded at the price was like 1 bid by 0 offer. It was really fucking disgusting. So when you see that, it's going to break, but how much it's going to break, who knows? Finally, we probe yesterday's low, have somewhat of a response. A lot of people were looking at this low to break, and if we take a look at the volume that was traded yesterday, this is thin. This is pretty much, telling us like, man, if we break this is likely going to backfill really quick. But it didn't. It actually didn't. Actually gave a decent response. I think we're still one time framing down here on the 30-minute, and then finally we shifted to neutral somewhere around here. I was gone at the gym at this time, but I think I was gone at the gym around this time. Let's see, 12:30. But there was a decent response. There was some sort of pullback against it. Just depends on how much risk you wanted to take. You'd have to take 3 ticks of risk against this low at 66.64 and a quarter. There was a spot here to take and a spot here to take. On top of the inflections, the guys in Infinitus will tell you that it's very important to check out and keep an eye on the yesterday's high, yesterday's low, as well as the overnight high and the overnight low. The reason why they don't mail those are it's fucking obvious. Like, yesterday's high and low are very important. Those are, the boundaries of the action from a previous day. Just the fact that we broke it and responded by coming back in, that was pretty telling that maybe the market's not going to go and excite itself and, fucking jerk off and go bukkake style to the downside side. No, it pretty much just kind of, pulled its step back and said, you know what, I ain't going to do this. After that, I believe time framing broke to neutral. This thing started to move to the upside, the test higher. and we later closed at the VPOC, which is pretty expected. This is a B-shaped profile. This is a long liquidation for any of you guys who follow volume profiling and market profiling. But notice that a lot of price action was capped by these day-generated prices, the real-time hour mid and VWAP, the full session mid and VWAP. Nothing could really get beyond that. And when you have so many periods trade within this price range, it's likely that price is going to go ahead and magnet. Again, the market is waiting for FOMC tomorrow to see what Powell says, to see if there's going to be anything different than what is likely going to happen, which I believe is a 25 basis point cut. I'm not I'm not an economist or any of those people that really, look at the probabilities of the Fed doing this or doing that. I just like to be aware of it. So just in case they throw a fucking curveball and decide to say, hey, let's go ahead and cut 75 basis points, the market will just go fucking nuts. It's always good to know what is going to go on. And it's also good to understand when not to trade. And tomorrow's FOMC probably shouldn't fucking trade if you don't want to get, beaten to death in terms of like some of the heinous price action that could come. Today, if you were against the grain, like me, taking buys, as long as you know that going against the grain, limiting risk, and you're doing scalping, you're releasing, you're feeding the fish, you're getting in with one point of risk, you're letting a good amount of your position go for 3 points or 4 or whatever. That's good. If you're buying this assuming that the highs are going to go or it's going to go to new highs, you're a fucking dumbass. So always know when you're against the grain. If you miss an easy trade like this, the short, then if you can get something out of it, just understand what you're going against. Just understand that if you're trying to buy when you're going through, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, so on and so forth, you really got to be careful. This action was not for the faint of heart if you were on the long side. So, anyways, that is it for today. Was the action that was kind of put forth. A pretty fruitful day on CL, and on ES, pretty decent stick and move action. If you were playing your trades with pullback entries and limiting your risk, you were able to get something, and that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the evening. I'm going to go ahead and get the levels up this evening. I don't have them up right now because I cannot share them until the evening actually, follows suit. But going to see what this evening might bring up in terms of some trades. However, with FOMC tomorrow, maybe I'll just take a break and I just won't even bother. So, Sean Connery signing off. Take care, guys. I will see you tomorrow.